students. Now, in continuation to plant adaptations that we have done earlier in the earlier session, today we will be looking at animal adaptations to different ecosystems. Okay, so in the previous session we have seen plant adaptations. In this session we will look at animal adaptations. Okay, so you people already know what does adaptation mean. Okay, so animals adapt themselves to get their food needs or shelter needs, or to get protection from their predators and all. Okay, now this entire branch, say animal and plant life, this entire branch is called something as ecology. Okay, right? Now this ecology is what it is, basically studying the interactions that take place among organisms and their environment in simple language. Okay, so I want to make it as simple as possible, so I have given a simple definition for ecology here, which is basically what are we doing here? We are actually studying the interactions between the organisms and the environment. Okay, organisms and the environment. Okay, so I'll read this definition once again. The study of the interactions that take place among organisms and their environment. Okay, that is basically what is ecology. Okay, right, I'll just reduce my length of the marker here. Okay, right, now moving on to the next slide, adaptation. So this is what we are going to look at today. Okay, right, now moving on to the next one. Now, how do adaptations help animals survive in their environment? So we have seen what ecology is, but here, how are these interactions happening with the environment is what we will see today. Okay, so that means how have the animal adapted themselves, or how have the animals evolved themselves to live in that particular environment. Okay, now an adaptation is a body part or behavior that helps an animal survive in a particular environment. So that we have also seen in plant, but here it is a little different because the animal here is moving. It moves here and there in search of food and shelter. Okay, right? Then an adaptation is a body part or a behavior that helps an animal survive in a particular environment. So an animal can adapt its body as a part. Okay, its body part for adaptations, for performing some specific function with respect to the environment in which it is staying. That is what is meant by this point here. Okay, then adaptations can help an animal breathe, catch food, or hide. Okay, so because of this, okay, because of this adaptation, okay, right, because of this interaction with the environment, an animal can breathe, catch food, or it can hide. Okay, right? Breathe, catch food, and it can hide itself. Okay, then all animals are adapted to live in certain habitats. You know what a habitat is? A place in which some organisms live in. Okay, so they are adapted to live in a particular habitat. Okay, now moving on, animals that cannot adapt will die out. Obviously, you know that. A classical example that I can give you with this point is the dinosaurs and the crocodile. Okay, now all of you know that dinosaurs are extinct creatures. Okay, and you also know that you can see crocodiles. Okay, now these are prehistoric animals. Okay, crocodile is considered as a living fossil. Okay, now dinosaurs became extinct because they were not able to adapt to the changing environment. Okay, dinosaurs became extinct because they were not able to adapt to the changing environment. But the crocodiles were able to adapt properly. Okay, they were able to adapt to the changes in the environment and also the changes in the habitat which it was encountering. Okay, so crocodile had survived. Okay, right? Now dinosaurs, you know, they were big and they had a very big appetite. Appetite means hunger. Okay, so even when the dinosaurs were big, the crocodiles were big because the crocodiles used to hunt the dinosaurs for food. Okay. Now, once the dinosaurs got extinct, the crocodiles generally, they adapted themselves to the conditions and the challenges which the nature threw at it, and slowly their size became less. Okay, right? In the prehistoric, there's a say, for example, the crocodile was around 40 feet. Okay, now the largest crocodile or the biggest crocodile in lengthwise and widthwise is basically in captivity, which is around 20 feet, 22 feet. Okay, right? All right, now moving on. Now here, whatever we have learnt in this slide, okay, whatever we have learnt here, I have summarized it here. We have summarized it here and put it up. How do adaptations help animal to survive in their environment? Now, body part or behavior that helps an animal to survive in a particular environment, helps an animal breathe, catch food or hide. Okay, then adapt to live in certain habitats. So these are the three points that we have seen in the earlier slide. Okay, now what I will do is I have written adaptations. Okay, and the first thing that we will see in this slide is it is divided into two categories. Now in the next slide you will see what are the two categories in which adaptations are divided into. Now here, so we can separate adaptations into two categories. The first one is the physical one, adaptation, and the second one is behavioral. Okay, behavioral. Okay, to be more specific, behavioral. Okay, right? So these are the two adaptations that we are seeing. Now moving on to the next slide. So I have put these two here. This will remain the same. This will remain the same. The only change here will be physical adaptation and behavioral adaptation. Okay, is that clear? Right? Now we will see the next slide. What is a physical adaptation? Okay, now physical adaptations are body structures that allow an animal to find and consume food, defend itself, and to reproduce its species. Okay, so first thing that physical adaptations are done by animals or are performed or shown by animals is first to consume food, find and consumption of food. That is the first thing the adaptations are made for. Second thing is defend itself. Now as you can see here, okay, if you can see here carefully, you cannot make out whether which one is an insect and which one is a twig. Okay, right? So this is the insect. Okay, this is the insect. Okay, now it is called as a stick insect. Okay, it is called as what? A stick insect. Okay, and this stick insect is adapted to save itself from its predators. Okay, so it just appears like a stick. As you can see here, you will not be able to make out where the insect is if you look at it suddenly. Okay, right? Now, and to reproduce its species. So reproduce means what? In order for the animal to survive in that particular environment, the organism, in order for it to continue itself in the particular environment, the organism has to reproduce. So if the organism reproduces, then only it will be able to continue its species. Okay, right? Now, physical adaptations help an animal survive in its environment. Obviously, if you can see here, the stick insect, because the physical environment is like this, okay, the animal was able to adapt here. Okay, right? So this is what it is. Hey, I'm a stick. I'm a walking stick. I look just like a stick. You would find out on the ground. Okay, so if it comes down onto the ground, you'll be happily able to make it out. But if it's on a twig, you'll not be able to make it out very easily. Okay. Excuse me. Now, so that is what I have written here in physical. Body structures that allow an animal to find and consume food, defend itself, and to reproduce its species. Okay, and then the other one is help an animal survive in its environment. So it will help an animal to survive in its environment, and body structures that allow it to consume, defend itself and reproduce. Okay, so that is basically what is a physical adaptation. Then moving on, in physical adaptation you have camouflage. Okay, so what is a camouflage? Use of color in a particular surrounding. Okay, now the best example is right in front of you. This is a chameleon. Okay, you all know what a chameleon is. It changes its color with respect to the surroundings, with respect to its surroundings. Okay, right? Now, the chameleon can change its color to match its surroundings. Now, can we do that? No, you cannot do it. But the chameleon can, because it has to, in order for it to survive, it has to achieve some defense mechanism, and also in order to hunt other organisms, say for example insects, which are its main diet. Okay, insects, it has to camouflage itself because it has to go a little closer to the prey and catch it. Okay, now if you see the mouth of a chameleon, okay, the tongue of the chameleon is rolled like this inside. Okay, it is rolled like this. Okay, right? It is rolled like this inside, like this, and the front of it has this part here. If I can mimic it, it is just like a gum. Okay, so that it goes and it attaches itself to the prey. It sticks to the prey. Okay, right? Then this chameleon has an eye which shows a 360-degree view. Okay, it can move 360 degrees. That means it can rotate a complete angle. Okay, then these are the paws through which it can hold itself. So if this is a tree stick, okay, if this is a branch, the chameleon's legs are like this, and they will come and grip the branch like this. Okay, right? Now this chameleon has a tail. Okay, now this is called as a prehensile tail, which will, just like a snake, grow and grip onto the branch here, which will make the chameleon's grip even more stronger. Okay, right? So, but what are we seeing here? We are looking at the adaptations that the chameleon has taken up, which is the camouflage. Now this camouflage can be seen in the stick insect, as you can see, as you have seen earlier, and then also you can see in say for example the leopards and the tigers, okay, or the lions. Okay, when they are hunting in grasslands, they are completely camouflaged by the dry grass. Okay, which allow them not to be seen properly. Then now, so this remains the same. Adaptations are divided into two categories: physical and behavioral. Behavioral we'll be looking at later. Then body structures. Body structures are made in order to defend themselves, then to reproduce species, and then help the animal to survive in its environment. So we are looking at this particular point here. Okay, so first one is what? The body structures that allow the animal to find and consume food. So this is the body structure that the chameleon has adapted itself in order to find prey, and consume it. So that is why it is categorized here: camouflage, use of color in a surrounding. Okay, so the chameleon will use its color in the surrounding. Okay, right? Now moving on. Then mimicry. Okay, now what is this mimicry? Mimicry is looking or sounding like another living organism. Okay, looking or sounding like another organism. Okay, now the best mimic in this environment, you can see the butterfly. Okay, right? So the viceroy butterfly uses mimicry to look like the monarch butterfly. Okay, now if you see here, this is the viceroy butterfly and this is the monarch butterfly. Okay, right? Now monarch butterfly is poisonous in nature, whereas viceroy butterfly is not poisonous. Now if you can see it closely, okay, if you look at both of them closely, everything looks very, very similar. Okay, everything looks very, very similar. Okay, the only make out point for a viceroy or a monarch butterfly would be the wingspan here in this region, which the monarch is lacking. Okay, right? Okay, and the spaces between these two wingspan here, the spaces here. Now here the spaces are a little smaller than compared to the monarch butterfly. So these are the small things which are not very visible when you instantly see a viceroy or a monarch butterfly. Okay, so you have to observe them very, very closely in order to get that difference. But that is why it is called as a mimicry. Okay, so when you see that with your naked eye, you will not be able to make out whether it's a monarch butterfly or a viceroy butterfly. Okay, you will only be able to just see that okay, a monarch butterfly is flying, because monarch butterfly is more famous than the viceroy butterfly. Okay, right? So look alike. Okay, and there are some organisms which sound alike. Okay, there are certain organisms which sound alike. Okay, so because that concept is called as mimicry. Okay, as humans also do, they take out many voices out. Okay, that is also called as mimicry. They are called as mimicry artists. Okay, so these are natural mimicry artists. So now why are they doing it? In order for survival. Okay, and also to get food. Okay, right, moving on. So where are we? We are here for mimicry here. Okay, I have written mimicry here. Okay, so looking or sounding like another living organism. Okay, now we'll go on to the next one, which is physical adaptation, that is chemical defenses. Right? Now, what you can see here is a octopus. It's a octopus. And what you can see here, now this is a skunk. Okay, right? Now, in say these organisms, they live in the sea, this live on land. Okay, now if these organisms are threatened by predators, okay, if they are threatened by predators, okay, then what do? They first, the octopus, okay, what it will do, it will immediately, if it is threatened, it will immediately spray out black color ink. Okay, it will immediately spray out black color ink. Okay, now when the organism is in a black color ink, okay, it gets confused. Now in order to avoid that confusion, then in the meantime, what will the octopus do? The octopus will get time to escape from that particular place. So that is basically a chemical defense that the octopus employs. Okay, now same thing like the venom. Now what is this venom? Venom is basically seen in many organisms, but in predominant we will see venom in snakes. Okay, right? Now please remember, snakes never bite. Okay, they only use their venom in order to catch prey. Okay, and they only use their venom if they are threatened. Okay, right? So if you go and fiddle with the snake, automatically the defense mechanism of the snake will take into picture and it will bite and it will inject a venom. It can be a neurotoxic venom. It can be say blood toxic venom. Okay, right? So these venoms are more famous in snakes. Okay, so this is one of the physical adaptations and it is a chemical defense. Now sprays. Now skunks. Now these skunks are organisms which release out a mixture of say hydrogen sulfide. Okay, a mixture of chemicals which contains hydrogen sulfide in it, and this skunk, it releases it from here. Okay, and then that smell which you get will make your life very miserable. It is very, very bad. Okay, if the skunk is spraying on you, then that smell will be very, very bad, and it's a chemical mixture. In that you have hydrogen sulfide also. Okay, right? Now, so this is one of the physical adaptation that I have shown you. Then, so I have filled in here chemical defenses in which you have venom, ink and sprays. All right, then moving on. Physical adaptations, body covering and parts, claws, beaks, feet, armor, plates, skull and teeth. Right, so you can see what I'm showing here. I'm showing a baby elephant, or I'll say an adult elephant, okay, with a trunk here. So this trunk has around 600 muscles which are working together, and the elephant is able to wobble it. Okay, right. The elephant's trunk, sorry, the elephant's trunk is a physical adaptation that helps it to clean itself, eat, drink, and to pick up things. So you might have seen many things. If you give some bananas to the elephant, it will pick it up with a trunk. If it has to take a water bath, which it enjoys a lot, it will suck up water into the trunk and spray it on its body like this. Okay, right? And if it has to pick up some load, it will use the trunk itself. Okay. Now this is one of the adaptations, but you have claws. You have claws with say all the animals, the bears, the lions, the tigers, everything will have claws. Beaks you will see in say birds, okay, and some animals or birds, they use feet to kill their prey or stun their prey. Say for example, you have the ostrich, or you have the cassowaries, which is a prehistoric flightless bird. Okay, it is very very dangerous, and it is considered to be the most aggressive bird in the world, which is the cassowary. Okay, then you have armor plates like your crustaceans, which are say crabs and shellfish. Okay, so all these have armor plates. Skulls, we have skulls to protect ourselves. Teeth, all organisms have teeth, even we have teeth. So these are some of the physical adaptations. Okay, so we have filled up the body covering and parts, claws, beaks, feet, armor plates, and skulls and teeth. Okay, now we will look at behavioral adaptations. Okay, we'll look at behavioral adaptations, and we'll fill that columns in the next session. Okay, thank you so much.